What is up, guys? Welcome to your 5th C++ tutorial. Today I'm going to be going over what a library is and what a function is in C++ programming. Alrighty, now let's start off with a function. A function is basically it's kind of like inside it performs a task is the best way to really explain it. And the best way to explain is really by showing you guys, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and code it. A void function, open and close parentheses, curly braces, and then let's have this function print out hello world. I'm a god dang function. Ha. Make sure you guys type that, or else, it's not going to be as cool as my program. Alright, so the way that functions work is you call them inside of your main function. This is a function itself. The main function is the only thing that gets executed when you run a program. You got to keep this in mind because let's say I build a program. I build, there's no errors, yes. And then I run this. Nothing is actually going to happen. This is not going to be ran. So the way you actually run a function is you got to call the function like this by name, open and close parentheses, semicolon, and a lot of people would just think, alright, so now what I do is I go ahead, I build this, and then I run it. What? Function identifier not found. The problem here is that this basically reads line by line what's going to happen, and when it reaches here it doesn't know that there's actually a function called function until it gets all the way over here. So that's why we have this error. So how we fix that is we make a prototype of the function up here, and we basically declare the function. So we're gonna let the computer know, alright, later on throughout the program I'm going to have a function called function, and make sure you look for it down below for wherever it's built before you keep going. So now if I build this and I run it, hello, I'm a god dang function. There we go. And that's what functions are. So you're probably confused as to what void means. Void is basically a type of function that does not have a return type. What a return type is we can basically have a lot of different types of functions, just like we can have different types of variables. For example, if I want to return a variable, I want to return a variable integer. Let's say, and I wanted to return 55 or something. I would just type in 55, return 55. And then what this would actually do is it would return the value 55. What we can do here is we can set this equal to an integer z equals function, and now this is going to return the value of 55, so therefore z is going to become 55. And I can prove that to you guys actually by printing out the value of 55 onto the screen. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's build solution and then start it. 55, there we go, we printed out z. So now we know that we can return values with functions. This is going to be a lot more useful later on when you know more, but for now I'm going to leave functions and I'm gonna start explaining what a library is. Alrighty, so a library is basically all of this stuff. Now this stuff is like basically telling the computer what vocabulary do you want me to use. So Iostream Include Iostream means that it wants you to use, that's basically all of the functions, cout, cin, into all the basic stuff basically is included in Iostream. This is the most basic library for C++. And all this is telling us is make sure you use all of the standard stuff. That's all that's really telling us. Nothing too complicated there. So if you want to add another library to do, you could have a bunch of different libraries that do different things. For now, I'm going to teach you guys the include Cmat library. Now what this is going to do, it's going to give you access to a bunch of different mathematical functions that you can use with C++. For example, if I have z equals integer z equals 5 and then integer y equals 2, and I want to raise z to the yth power, then I would just go ahead and do this integer d equals pow, which is basically power 5 2. Let's go ahead and print out the value of d now. So we build this, we run it, and we get 25. Alright, so what is this program doing? We're declaring a variable z equals 5, y equals 2, integer d equals 5 raised to the second power, which is 25, and then we print out that value onto the screen. So what the heck is this thing? Well, this thing is actually part of the Cmat library, and that's why we have access to it. Later on, I'm going to be showing you guys that we can use a bunch of different libraries that have a bunch of different functions, a bunch of different uses. POW is just one of the ways that we can use the Cmat library. Might as well show you guys the square root, which is basically the opposite of taking something to the power. So how you would do that is you would do, let's set integer z equal to 25, and then let's set integer d equal to the square root of 25. And then when we print out d, of course, that's going to give us, what the heck? Hold on a second. What? Surely this is going to give us, oh, that's what it is.